Yeah, Lester, I mean, that is the strategic question for Democrats. They were concerned about Joe Biden's ultimate ability to win this election. If they do end up with Kamala Harris as their presidential candidate now, does it change the basic political realities they were worried about? So look at it this way. This is the average of all of the national polls conducted since that debate at the end of June that started all of this. And you see the average, Biden trailing Trump by 2 points nationally. Of course, very significant, not just that Biden was behind, but if you went back 4 years to 2020, there really was no point in the entire campaign when Biden trailed Trump in the national average. So that made that even more significant. But okay, since that debate, these polls have also started to ask, well, what about Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee, offering respondents that choice as well. In the polls that have tested both of them, here's the average for Harris versus Trump. Not much different. Harris does do a point better than Biden. 45 goes to 46. In the average, Trump stays at 47. So at least at the beginning, if Democrats do go with Harris, they'd be taking a candidate trailing by 2 on average, replacing with a candidate who trails by 1 on average. Of course, the question is the introduction of Kamala Harris as a presidential candidate, the Democratic convention, the new attention on her. Would that help those numbers? Would that improve them? Conversely, would that hurt those numbers potentially if the rollout doesn't go that well? Those are some of the variables, though, but that's the starting point on head-to-head. And we also look at the basic image of each candidate when we ask the question, favorable or unfavorable view do you have? Again, the average for Joe Biden has been very bad, 36% favorable, 57% unfavorable. Now, Kamala Harris, where does she clock in here? Little bit better, but not much. 36 to 38 on the favorable side, and the unfavorable comes down 57 to 52. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, who she'd like to run against now, you see where he stands. These numbers are a bit better for him than they've been in the past. 41% favorable, 55 unfavorable. And again, whether it's Kamala Harris or if it happens to be anybody else, whoever emerges as the Democratic candidate, just the basic challenge they're facing is this. Here is the road to 270 electoral votes, and you see the 6 core swing states right here that are expected to decide the presidency. You see Harris would have to win a number of those states here. But the other challenge for her, and something that drove Biden from this race, is that Democrats were starting to get indications outside of these battleground states of unexpected trouble in places like Virginia, New Hampshire, Maine. In the popular vote in Maine, they give out electoral votes by congressional district there, even potentially in a state like Minnesota. So for Harris or whoever the Democratic nominee becomes, the two challenges are, first of all, shore up states like that Democrats weren't expecting to have to sweat over, and then get to work in those battleground states. Again, all those battleground states in 2020 were Joe Biden states, Lester.